I agree with part of what Shannon's saying. Do we have to be completely uh, on the same page about everything? No, we don't. We can agree to disagree, but we got to be, as long as we're respectful towards each other. I can rock with that. But part of the conversation that men should definitely have is in the beginning, to know what you about to invest in, to know what you about to get into. I need to let them know what my standards are, my expectations, what I'm looking for, just like she wants to let me know what she's looking for. So, for example, I'm looking for a woman who's down with one pot. A couple women ran into it. They not with that. They can't see that. I want my money is my money, your money is money. Okay, cool, move on. But just like her standards is to be married. Okay, if I'm not okay with getting remarried, then I can't rock with that woman. So we need to know what each other's expectation is. I think it's probably the most important in the beginning. Now, we're gonna figure it out somehow, some way throughout the relationship between me and her. Though everybody's not gonna be involved in the situation. I talked about last night on Pressure Show. I'm not allowing everybody to get involved with our relationship. This is not for your sisters, your friends, your best friends, your auntie, your grandma, nobody. It's me and you. We're going to figure this shit out. Now, if we can't figure it out between me and you, we're going to go to marital counseling. And that's going to be our third party. We're not going to allow you to go over and tell your mama, he ain't shit. He did this. He didn't do this. I go for dinner for Thanksgiving. They look at me 10 karat crazy. Why? Because you done told a bunch of bullshit. But now we back good. But after I figure out why they looking at me all crazy, now we bad because now I got a problem with you. Why we go talking to your goddamn mammy? That heifer don't need to know our goddamn business. It's not that. So let's keep the conversation within the frames of the family and make sure we can have the conversation in a respectable manner.
Go ahead, Rilla. Dang, I got an echo somewhere. Man, shout out to Shan. Shan, one of the OGs in this space, man. Shan is a big bro. In the time that I've been on this panel, it's rare that I agree with him. But Shan, I couldn't keep up with where you were going with what you were saying. Some of it I agree with, but then I was like, okay, well, wait, what are we saying? So here's my thing with it, right? All of these conversations are relevant and important. A lot of the discourse that's being had in the public eye, a lot of us, myself included, weren't really aware of how bad it is out here, right? Some of us didn't even understand how delusional our sisters and brothers, including self, are till we look at other people because they're having a conversation in the public eye. So we get a better understanding. Me personally, the business that I deal in, I have to be empathetic and understand. I have to step outside of self and put myself in somebody else's shoes, like what I do day to day. Also, when we're considering leadership, right? Part of that is considering the other side, right? Now, here's the other thing, Shan. When we talk about being on the same page, I didn't take it as men and women being on the same page in terms of men trying to align with women, because most of the time, what are men asking for? Cooperation, the buzzword submission, which means really you requesting that she be on your program, be on your page, right? So when we talk about men and women being on the same page, like say for my wife, right? Like I need to understand her. I need to understand what motivates her, what moves her, what pushes her buttons, how to have these conversations with her to generate a corresponding action, right? So some of what you were saying, I agree with, but I think the bigger part that I disagree with is that these conversations are a waste of time. I think these conversations are relevant. I think they're necessary. And shout out to Dr. Alan Obi, for doing the work. I see you to step that production up. Shout out to him for doing the work and having these conversations to really show and showcase even when we see women being delusional in his space, sometimes you still see him holding the conversation in a very, very classy way where you can digest it. So I think all of these conversations are relevant. I think there's a lot of chew the meat and spit out the bones with it, and I think they're very necessary. Still, I think the next step though, Shan, we got to put some action to it, bro. We got to see more action in 2024, and less jaw jacking and slacking around this, man. We got to see more action.
Get my opinion on it. I think the conversations are necessary. I don't think you have to force anybody to do something that they don't want to do. But it kind of reminds me of somebody that has good character and integrity. They're the same way across the board, like no matter what, and they're gonna still respond the way that they do because that's just who they are, right? Same thing with these conversations. You're gonna have to continue keep having these conversations, and whoever wants to latch on to it, then they can, and other people they're just not going to receive it or they don't want to hear it. So um, somebody got to be doing something. And whether sparking the conversation may have some type of influence or uh, even a thing. People always look for solutions all the time, but I don't think every conversation is warranted a solution. Sometimes just highlighting something may make you think on it as far as what's going on inside your household or what's going on with your children or your kids or your husband or your wife. So I think having these conversations, um, it can be a plus. And if it doesn't apply to you or you don't like it, then you ain't got to listen to it. You can just turn it off. It's not like you're being forced to do it. So I think people be making such a big deal about podcasts. It's like people doing what they want to do. If find out what you want to do, find out what you want to listen to, and then just keep it pushing. You ain't got to keep down to people for just having conversations. I mean, what's the difference from you having a conversation with somebody on the phone or you guys gossiping at work? The only difference is we just got a camera and a mic. So I think conversations are good, and you have seen some changes. I've heard people emails and DMs about how much they thank just the Lapeef Network just for doing some good things beside them homes. I mean, we even got some people married just by they would have never known each other. Think about how everybody are coming together, collabing, just doing things. So there is some good in it. I won't just say that it's all negative, but you got to be able to look past it. But some people just want to be negative all the time, and them folks you just leave them where they are. I'm gonna keep staying positive and always look for the positivity in things and instead of negative. So keep having those conversations. I think having understood because if you think about it, the world is constantly shifting. You look at the Walgreens are closed and McDonald's are closed. We probably would have never seen that. The only toy store, the only place you can get toys is from Target and Walmart for the most part. I think they got a pop up Toys R Us somewhere, but the world's always changing. So I think this is another way that we can stay aware of things because we are changing and we don't even realize that we are changing. And so I think having these conversations about what's going on within our households and how we feeling, I think it is necessary because it can help somebody. It may not help everybody, but it can help somebody. But that brings me to Nelson. Nelson, I've seen you in the chat a few times, and I know that you're pretty hard on people like Mr. Let Go because you don't really think he's qualified to be giving information, and some of the other people on the panel. I'm curious to get your thoughts. I got you up here. How do you see everything that's going on as far as relationships? I know you see people often in the work that you do. What are your thoughts?
First of all, is my mic a little bit better, or at least usable?
Yeah, it's better.
So I think we lead. So first of all, I am hard on the people like Mr. Let Goes because as counselors, I'm trained to listen to what the deeper message is, and based off some of the messaging that I've heard before, I'm not gonna say something too wrong, but there's just a lot of bad information given. You really got to be qualified to start digging into people's marriages and their relationships and telling them how they should function and like how to improve their relationship. Like that's just my opinion on it. I think that we lead, and I'm sure everybody's heard this term before, that you lead with your insecurities. We do the same thing in terms of like when we're dating and we're with someone, we filter all of our conversations through the things that we're insecure about. So you take a guy who is he's insecure about himself, low self-esteem, and he ends up dating a headstrong more aggressive type woman, one that looks like a strong, motherly type figure who kind of like takes the lead on a lot of things. Well, he's getting with her based off his insecurity, when his true desire is to be the leader of the house, to kind of make the decisions. You start getting into these clashes about whose will is stronger. Well, I think things should be this way. I think these things should be this way. So it doesn't work if you don't get with someone that is based on what you are truly looking for inside of the other person. People coming into my office, I see that all the time. If it's not coming into counseling because somebody cheated and now y'all got to work through it and learn how to forgive, it's most of the time it's about that imbalance in relationships, where you got the strong black woman trying to get her husband to take the lead, but he's a mama's boy, so he doesn't know how to do that, and he doesn't have the room to do that. He doesn't have the room for error. Like, it is a lot of that type of stuff. So the communication piece, to me, is for the couples that get together based on what's truly, the true things that bring them together, not the insecurities. So I just think that a lot of the relationships that we're seeing in this day is just, they're built on the things that we're insecure about. We get with them based off of that, and then we run into a whole bunch of problems when we try to exert our will, or when we try to actually head in a direction, because we yoked up with the wrong person to begin with.
Okay.
You know what? I actually heard something different. And Shannon, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when I heard you say what you said, it sounded like he was pretty much saying that people should understand the assignment, right? And a lot of times people just don't understand the assignment. And as far as some of the conversations being a waste of time, that could be the case. And I'll tell you why. There are some people who just won't work together, right? And it's not going to work because you are you, this person is this person. But it goes back to what Hank was talking about in the very beginning. A lot of men spend so much time courting, but no time vetting. In the beginning, you have to let the other person know what you're about. You have to let them know what your expectations are. You have to be vocal about it. You have to be yourself. It's so easy to be yourself. It's so refreshing and therapeutic to be yourself. If you just go out there 100% yourself, you'll feel so good about it, because they're going to know you. They're going to know what to expect of you. You don't have to perform. It is hard to perform. And somebody is going to actually appreciate you for what it is that you are. But you have to do that from the very beginning. You can't do this performance because it's not sustainable. That's just what it is. And a lot of us don't do that. We're going to have to spend more time vetting in the beginning and stop looking at women for their beauty. Just like we make bad decisions, they look at men sometimes because of the way they look or because of the get, and they're going to end up in a bad situation because they really can't get along with this person. They really don't have the same values. They don't have the same moral, have the same wants and likes and goals. So we got to do better at our vetting.